Hey everybody, it's Colin Costello for Real 360, and we are at the 2020 Film Independence Spirit Awards, where we're here to celebrate independent films like Uncut Gems, Parasite, and Booksmart. We're moments away from the festivities, and we will bring them to you.
How are you?
Congratulations.
Thank you. I am here supporting the films that are here.
As a filmmaker too, I know all the supporting.
It's exciting, yeah.
Absolutely. What's your favorite part of the film?
Oh, I'm not in a film. I'm just here. Well, I mean, first of all, independent. I think indie films, they're so gritty. They're so real to life. They're not. There's not a whole bunch of fluff added in Hollywood stuff. So you get like the essential part of what it takes to do filmmaking and like the authenticity. So I love that about the films that are going to be awarded.
As far as independent film, what's your favorite part about the whole film process?
Ooh, I think my favorite part about the film process is all the different people it takes to actually bring it to life. So, you know, of course, you get the writer has an idea or whatever, so they write the words, and then you give it to a producer, and they see things that the writer doesn't see, and then you give it to a director, and then it falls in the hands of actors, which I'm an actor, and it's just such a fun thing to storytell and bring those things to life. And then you have the DPs and the ADs and the editors, and like once it's done, it honestly elevates what it was at first when all those creative minds come together, you know, to do it.
Now, it absolutely does with actors, because I'm a writer too, so I get it.
Yeah.
I just feel like actors help really bring the characters to life.
Yeah, I mean, we see things that the writers write it from whatever their mind was at the time, and then I think the beautiful marriage between the two is like, oh, well, I see something different, and you know, you can add layers and textures to things that maybe weren't there on the page, you know. So it's just a beautiful process.
So when you see a project, does it just scream out at you, "This is me, I want this"?
Oh my God, yes, that happens so much. There's been so many films, television shows, parts that I've kind of fell in love, you know, with the character, and that makes the process so fun. Like even when you're just auditioning or whatever, like to find a character and to find a part of yourself in the characters that you play, it's just a beautiful discovery. You learn so much about yourself personally from that. So
Absolutely. So who are you hoping to meet here that you don't know?
oh my God, I don't know. I mean, I'm just here to enjoy and to meet as many people as possible, and you know, make connections and things like that. So I'm sure I'll see somebody that'll make me go, oh my God, and then I'll be excited.
Well, great. I hope you have a great time.
Thank you so much.
So, aspiring director to director, how does the film feel still like your vision, the final product when you first started thinking about it?
Yes. It was interesting because we developed this project at the Sundance Lab, and I remember one exercise that they used to teach us and to do it constantly was the final scene. Like, imagine your final scene, draw your final scene, imagine your final scene. And I remember I had it very clearly, and of course then the question is how to arrive there, right? And when I see the film today, that final scene is there. So I think we're really honored and happy that, you know, we're here with a film and taking it to the world and representing our culture.
Absolutely. How many times have you seen your film?
1,500,000 times in the editing room with my amazing editor, in many festivals, in many cuts. You know, you dream with your film. Every night you just want to change a second or a frame, and it's like a never-ending process until one day you wake up and say, I think it's done, no? And you're ready now to give it to the world. And it's a painful process actually at the start, but when it's given to amazing hands, and in this case was the Berlin Film Festival that took it over to the world, we're really honored and happy for that.
What's your favorite part about the whole filmmaking process?
I think there's so many, but one amazing part was the casting process to get our main protagonist, which is Junior Bejar Roca, which is here, year, we did a casting of 750 boys to find him, and we only find one that was ready, was him. And when we discovered him, it was like suddenly we thought we had the movie. We're ready now, ready to do the movie, and just the creative process of finding him with an amazing team of Retablo was beautiful.
So what's next for you?
Well, working on another project now, exploring the jungle of Peru. So soon we'll have more news about that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much and good luck.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to meet you.
You too. So, again, congratulations on the nomination. How did you feel when you heard the nomination? Take us through that.
Yeah, it was shock and surprise for me. Shock and surprise. Yeah.
It's still unreal. You know, I didn't imagine this. You know, you don't do it for a nomination or awards. You do it because of love of it.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad that our message in the film is able to get out to a lot more now.
Well, it's absolutely a wonderful screenplay. How long did it take you to write it?
5 goddamn years.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's almost like you never finish writing. Even when we were in production, there were things that we were working on and changing. So, yeah, it's a bit of a process.
A lot of going back and forth, a lot of arguments.
Between us?
Yeah.
Between us, no.
Yeah, we're always pretty much on the same page, which is great. Yeah.
It's very rare because Fajika's like a sister to me, and when we first met, I started working on this. The energy synced. So I'm just very blessed and honored, man.
Yeah.
This is wild.
As am I. Yeah.
So, obviously, Oscars so white. There's not a whole lot of diversity. How do we get more of us in there?
We need to change the voters that's in the academy to do that. We need to hold the academy accountable of making sure that everyone is watching all the films and not have certain people have nominations that don't deserve it.
Yeah.
And what's next?
More.
More stories, more collaborations, hopefully. Yeah.
We're working on something big, and we can't speak on yet, but it's huge.
Yeah.
Well, Marvel or DC?
So how does it feel?
Milestone.
There we go. Thanks so much, you guys. Thanks. On 17 blocks, David.
Yeah, appreciate it, Colin.
So how does something like this project's daunting, how does it change you from beginning to end?
Yeah, well, I mean, I met the Sanford family in '99, and I had just got my first camera. I met Emmanuel Durant. He was 9 years old on a basketball court. He was interested in, how does that camera work? So we kind of learned how to use it together. And the family lived 17 blocks behind the U.S. Capitol building, but in a neighborhood that's notorious as like one of the most dangerous in the country. And I got to know Emmanuel, his brother, his sister, his mom. They really invited me into their lives. They actually say that they adopted me, which is kind of how it felt, to be brought into their lives in such a deep way. And so for the last 20 years, we've been filming together, and we finally finished our movie, 17 Blocks. It's out in the world now. To be nominated for an Indie Spirit Award is a big deal. To help, the film is now reaching a national and a global audience, and it's a truly independent film. Just me and really 3 kids filming their life over 20 years.
So, yeah, exactly, over 20 years. Did you know going into it you were going to do this for 20 years, or what was the cap? Where did you just say, okay, this is it?
I thought maybe 20 days, but we became family, and we kept filming, just, almost as home video, and of course something changed after 10 years in. It was home videos, more or less. 10 years in, our family's life was touched by gun violence, and Cheryl, the mother, said, we have to keep filming. We have to film all of this, because so many of her friends had lost children to gun violence. And she said, the difference is no one has been documented as thoroughly throughout their life as my son. So we kept filming, me and the rest of her family, and we've continued to for the last 10 years. So it really tells a story of a family, but also of a community, and it's really a national story. I mean, this happened happens in DC, but it happens in Philadelphia, in Detroit, St. Louis, Los Angeles.
Did you involve them in post at all in the editing process?
Yeah, absolutely. The Sanfords have been incredible, and they've really guided us every step of the way. Cheryl is the executive producer on the film because she, throughout, she said, this is what we have to include in the story. We have to include this story. So we would show cuts as we went, and we had an amazing editor, Jen Teixeira, and we'd show cuts and just kind of have these deep conversations with the Sanfords about what are the most important aspects of the story, because we had thousands of hours of footage, and you're telling a 90-minute story. So what aspects are you going to put into it? But their participation was not only helpful, it was crucial.
Well, and one of the things I read about the film that I thought was really interesting was that you refused to judge at all.
Yeah.
Is that hard?
No, because look, that we're all human, and Cheryl, who's the mother in the film, she's very honest and candid about some of her own struggles, and I think that kind of truth-telling, that kind of willingness to just be vulnerable and share her own mistakes, her own challenges, it really makes it relatable. And you can't judge somebody when you see them day to day and you see them trying and sometimes failing, but sometimes finding a way to thread the needle and be triumphant in overcoming their own personal struggles.
So what's next for you after something like this?
So we haven't even come out yet, really. Our film's coming out this year on MTV Documentary Films. We're really thrilled to be picked up by Sheila Nevins and the team there. So we're going to have our theatrical release later this year and continue to get this important story out in the world to use it as a tool for change. I have new doc projects I'll be working on in the months and years to come, and I can't wait to start telling other stories too. But now we're just really focused on the impact side of this story, because it's rare to have a 20-year story like this. People watch this. People who say they can't imagine what it would be like to live in a neighborhood like this, the Sanford's neighborhood in D.C., or to have their lives touched by gun violence. They watch this movie and they feel like they are in their shoes, and they go home, I think, shaken and ready to do whatever they need to do to make a difference.
It's a film you should really be proud of.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We are proud of it, and we can't wait to share 17 Blocks with everybody this year.
Thanks so much, Davey.
Really good to meet you.
Really, take care.